friends, you're listening to Crickets to Cha-Chings, a show where we talk about all aspects of running a handmade business and marketing that business for success while still keeping a balance to have flexibility for your family. I'm your host, Lauren Keplinger, and I am so excited to get started. Let's jump right in. Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of Crickets to Cha-Chings. My name is Lauren, and this is episode number 18. Today, we are going to talk about how to stand out on Etsy when other people are selling the same thing as you, aka how to set yourself apart when you have competition. We all wish that we could be the very first one in our niche to create something so that we don't have any competition and life is great and the sales just rain down on us. But chances are that that's probably not happening for most, if not all of us. We're not really reinventing the wheel here most of the time. Many of us are creating products that have been seen before. They're not new to the world. We're just bettering a market that already exists. But the good news is that there are other challenges associated with actually being the first one that creates a product or that trendsetter or reinventing the wheel that we don't have to deal with not doing that. Think about the first time that the iPhone came out. And I always say, we're not Steve Jobs, we're not reinventing the wheel. So think about reinventing the wheel and you are Steve Jobs. Not only do they have to sell the product and market the product, but they also have to convince people that this is a product that they actually need because the world had never seen something like that before. When you are working in a niche or a market that already exists, you don't have to do that. So having competition in the market means a few things. The first is you don't have to validate your idea to see if people would be interested. You already know that people are interested because your competitors have been selling the item to those people. So you already know that the market exists for the product. And the second part of that is that there's already a demand on Etsy. People are already searching for this item. They're coming to Etsy as a trusted source for this purchase. They already have in their minds that Etsy is a place to be able to buy a product like this one. So you don't have to figure out how to bring them in to Etsy or how to convince them that this is a product that they need in their lives. You just have to figure out how to attract them to your shop or to get your product in front of them so that they can choose you over your competitors. So I believe that there are two main reasons that my shop, Funky Monkey Children, has been successful on Etsy. The first one is something that we've talked about extensively, and I'm not going to go over in this episode because I'm sure you're tired of hearing me talk about it, but it's really understanding how to get found through SEO and marketing and really to be able to get those eyes on the product. SEO is the cornerstone of your business and it will drive a huge amount of traffic to your shop once you figure out how to master it and how to master those search terms that people are using for your products. But again, I'm not going to dive into that one today because we've talked about that a lot and I feel like you're probably tired of me saying the word SEO. So the second part of that, and the one that we're going to talk about today, is that I think that a huge part of the reason that Funky Monkey Children has been successful is because I have products that have a wide appeal with a high demand. Not every single product in the market is going to have a widespread appeal or be a really popular product. But in trying to compete in the market and to get found in the space, it's important to have products that people actually want. And I'm not saying that to be condescending or to be mean or anything like that, but I feel like this is something that oftentimes gets lost when people are asking about their products or about opening a shop or they're thinking through creating products that they want to make. It's all about how to get your product found or how to get your product in the search and the SEO and all of that stuff, which is super important. But it's like they're forgetting that they have to have a product that people actually want to buy. And I am always one to say that you can sell almost anything online. And I do think that that's true. Think about super niche markets. Think about trends that have come on really fast out of nowhere. You really can truly sell almost anything online if you know how to get in front of your buyer. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have a wildly successful store with consistent sales and consistent income that's actually sustainable with any product. So I think that there is sort of a strategy behind creating products that people want and being able to continually create things that are relevant in the market. So these are my top 4 tips of how to get found when you have a lot of competitors or when you're in a crowded market space or when you just want more eyes on your products, more sales. How do you stand out with competition? The first step is to be creative. Don't just repeat every single item that you see in a competitor's shop. You don't want to just go to a competitor's shop and then recreate exactly what they have. Have your own spin on it. Have your own improvement over what someone else is offering. The problem with going to your competitors and just recreating everything that they have is that you're always one step behind. There is actually a shop on Etsy, I've talked about it before, that the owner of the shop basically takes my listings, recreates them, copy and paste my title, copy and paste my description, everything. It is just a complete copy of what I've created, and there's nothing really that I can do about it because there's nothing about it that's trademarkable or copyrightable. So it is what it is. However, here's the thing about it is the person that's doing that and who's recreating something from their competitor all the time is always one step behind you. So you're never in the forefront, you're never creating something that's new or creating a niche of your own. You're always just creating something that somebody's already done. And again, that's not to say that we are reinventing the wheel, because we're not. But if I put my own spin on something and then somebody else just copies that spin, I'm going to already have customers who are coming to me because of my spin or because of my marketing or because of my packaging or my social media or whatever. And if you're not creating that for yourself, you're just kind of recreating or copying what your competitors are doing. It's not showing your true spin. It's not showing your personality or your vibe or your sort of viewpoint on what you're creating. And that doesn't allow you to have your own sort of niche within this broader market. The second part of that is to listen to your customers. Allow their ideas to lead the direction of your shop. They often have a really, really strong pulse on what's popular, what is trending right now, what other people are going to want. If you have a person who comes to you and asks specifically for something to be created from your shop, they give you an idea of what they're wanting. Chances are other people are going to want that too. And I talked a lot about custom orders in episode number 11 and how to make those custom orders really work for your shop and really work to grow your shop and grow your sales in a way that you can use the custom orders to then sort of as a jumping off point for future orders. So if you want to go back and listen to that, that is episode number 11. But I think it's really important to listen to your customers as you're moving forward, because a lot of times they can help to lead the direction of your shop in a way that you might not really anticipate. I know for myself that the custom orders that I got initially when I was first starting out, and then the things that people would add on to those custom orders, like I originally had a 2 burp cloth set, and then somebody asked for a burp cloth and a bib, and then somebody asked for 2 burp cloths and a bib and a baby gown and a hat and a blanket. And all of a sudden, all of these other products were coming from the original products that I had, and this new direction had sort of taken off. And it has evolved over and over and over again in the 6.5 years that I've been doing this. So to listen to your customers really allows you to understand what is popular in the market right now and understand what people are looking for in the best way. To be able to just directly hear from them and to hear exactly what they want is invaluable information. My next tip about how to really make a product that people want and that sells well is to stay relevant. There are definite trends in everything in the world, but in terms of making things on Etsy, there are trends in patterns, there are trends in colors, there are trends in style and decor, there's popular wording, popular phrases, popular ways of doing things, or kind of like the technique of it. Things are always changing. And like I said, while I think that there can be a market for almost anything on the internet, you do have to latch onto some trend usually. And then from there, you can kind of put your own spin on it and kind of go in the direction that you want to go with what you want to make. But for example, when I first got started on Etsy in 2012, Chevron was a really, really popular pattern. The big kind of fatter chevron, not the smaller ones. And I totally latched on to that chevron craze, although I kind of stepped into it midway through the popularity of chevron. And I ordered the chevron fabrics there was a really popular Riley Blake fabric, if any of you are familiar with fabrics, a Riley Blake chevron fabric that was super popular, and it was everywhere on Etsy. It was everywhere in general, but it was everywhere on Etsy. And I bought all these chevron patterns. I bought all these colors, rainbow. I had all these sets. My whole shop was kind of chevronish. And I worried even at the time of like, what am I going to do when this becomes not popular anymore? What am I going to sell? I don't know how to go. Where do I go from here with this trend? And I would say probably within a year or so of starting my shop and really having a ton of Chevron stuff, Chevron started to fade out. But what I found was, kind of going back to the tip before, is that as Chevron got to be less popular, as people got a little bit tired of it, they would email me and say, can I get this set, except can I get it with this pattern instead? Can I get it with a polka dot? Can I get it with a herringbone? Can I get it with a solid, whatever? And so I was able to take that set that was really, really trendy. I mean, it was a very strong trend, and then it faded just as strongly, and be able to evolve it as that trend sort of went out of style. So I think that being able to stay relevant and stay in the sort of popular things that are trending right now is huge in having a successful shop. And that is not to say that every single thing you need to make is going to be trendy. It's just that there are definite things that look out of date or that look kind of irrelevant. And those decor styles and jewelry styles and everything, it changes, and you have to have a pulse on what is popular right now, because obviously those popular things are going to sell better. So my advice to you when you're doing that, or when you're kind of doing your research about what would be popular, is to look to big box retailers. Those trends are really strongly reflected in any of the retailers that you look at. So for example, when I was doing a whole lot of burp cloth sets for nurseries, I would look at Pottery Barn Kids or Land of Nod or Restoration Hardware to look at the baby and kid sets that they had available. What colors did they use? What patterns did they use? What styles and what designs? And if they had animals, what animals were there? There are trends with everything. If you make t-shirts, look at somewhere like Urban Outfitters. What kind of sayings do they have? What style of t-shirt? What cut of t-shirt, what colors. If you do clothing, you can look at something like Nordstrom, or look to a fashion blogger or an Instagram influencer to see what are they promoting. If you do home decor, you can look at places like Pottery Barn or West Elm or even Target to look at those trends and the things that are popular right now. Again, this doesn't mean that you just go to Target and you find a home decor item and you go home and you recreate that exact thing. It's to look towards the trend. If you're making something like a sign and you're framing it, is it dark wood? Is it white wood? Is it black? Is it rose gold? Was really popular for a while and it's still pretty popular. Even when you look at like home decor, the styles change so frequently. So you can look at a kitchen and you can tell if it was built in 2019 or if it was built in 2000 or if it was built in 1980. There are styles and trends that come in and they go out. So you want to be able to latch on to some of that, not to copy again. And I feel like I'm reiterating that over and over again. We're not looking to copy anybody, but to see what is popular, and those things change. So for example, if you're making something for a little kid's birthday party right now, it's important to know, unicorns are really huge, mermaids were really big, rainbows are big. And you could say, well, rainbows and unicorns were always popular with girls. And I do think that that's true, but I have seen an uptick in the amount of rainbow and unicorn things, even with just my own children, with their clothing, with the decor that's available in stores, all of that. So those things do come in waves. And if you can get in on those in the time that they're still popular, it can definitely help you to grow your sales and to grow your brand as people are latching onto those trends. The next tip I have is to understand the legal side of your business. So shout out to my Etsy Roadmap to Success students who just went through an expert interview this week with a lawyer who talked all about the legal aspects of a business. But it is very important when you are trying to stand out from the crowd and you are trying to get more eyes on your product and create a product that people want, that you don't overstep the boundaries of what is legal and what is not legal for what you're creating. The reason that I bring this up, because you might be sitting there being like, what does legal have to do with creating trendy items? But a lot of times people's answer to creating a trendy item or creating things that somebody wants is to latch onto those trends that come with things like TV shows or movies or books that are popular or something like that. So if you make little kid birthday party things, again, maybe you're making Sesame Street and Mickey Mouse and Paw Patrol and Fancy Nancy, but that's not legal, and you will be overstepping the boundary of what is legal. And there are plenty of people who you will talk to who say, is Etsy really going to care? Is Etsy really going to do anything about it? I go onto Etsy and I see all of these Mickey Mouse things. Is Disney really going to do anything about it? I can't answer that question for you. I don't know if Disney's ever going to do anything about it or not, but my philosophy about it has been that I don't want to build a business on something that isn't legal or sustainable. You are always going to have a roof of how far you can scale your business if what you're doing is not legal. So that's kind of my mentality, but I also am a straight-laced rule follower for the most part, so you can take that for what it's worth. But I wanted to point this out because I think that it's really important that while you're creating those trendy items, you still do it in a unique way. And even creating something that is, quote, inspired by, which you see a lot on Etsy and Facebook and all over the place, inspired by Lily Pulitzer or inspired by Disney princesses, that's still infringement. If there's confusion over where it came from or who it's made from, it is infringement. And I want to caveat that by saying I'm not a lawyer, so if you have questions, you should probably ask a lawyer about it. But just because lots of other people are doing it, it doesn't make it okay. And it doesn't mean that Etsy won't shut you down for copyright and trademark infringement. One thing that's really important to keep in mind with that is that sometimes you don't realize it. There are phrases and things that are trademarked or copyrighted that you wouldn't necessarily, especially copyrighted, you wouldn't necessarily assume that it's a copyrighted phrase because it's just sort of a common terminology. So my first ever infringement that I got on Etsy was for Onesie, a Gerber onesie. Well, I didn't say Gerber, I just said onesie, and it wasn't actually made by Gerber. It was a Carter's brand bodysuit. And I found out after I got hit with this infringement notice that onesie is actually trademarked by Gerber. So I thought that that was just the term that everybody used for a one-piece t-shirt thing, which it is the phrase that everybody uses, but it is also trademarked by Gerber. And Gerber patrols that heavily. So if you are using the word onesie, there's your warning. But there's other ones also that fall into that. Things like koozies, Velcro. They're Ziploc for bags. And not that you would be using that on Etsy, but, you know, people will say, like, can you get me a Ziploc bag, even if it's not Ziploc brand? But sometimes those are. Velcro is a brand name. And there are businesses that patrol Etsy more frequently than others. There are some that don't seem like they ever really do, but it is just good practice to make sure that you are looking into the items, the words that you're using, and sort of the terminology that you're using to make sure that they are not trademarked or copyrighted. I also just wanted to add in there that it is possible, 100%, I truly believe it is possible to be trendy and popular without infringing on anybody's copyright or trademark laws. There was a period of time when I felt like I was fighting an uphill battle, and I questioned whether or not that it was really worth it to not cross over that line. This was pretty early in my business, but I saw so many things that were crossing that line and selling really, really well. So remember, I work in the baby and kid industry. In the beginning, I did a lot of t-shirts and stuff also, which I don't do anymore. But one of the products that was selling really, really well at the time when I got started, and I'm sure it still is, was birthday shirts for little kids, applique birthday shirts. And because I mostly catered to the younger baby and toddler crowd, and also just because of the product itself, so many of those were based on TV shows. A lot of Mickey Mouse, a lot of Sesame Street, a lot of Daniel Tiger, and things like that, things that preschoolers like. And I felt like if I'm ever going to be able to be successful in this industry, if I'm going to be able to be successful with this product, I'm going to have to make those, because I can't tell you how many times people would send me a message saying, I love your stuff. I love the style of your products. I love everything that you have in your shop. My son's having a birthday and it's a Mickey Mouse birthday party. Could you make me a Mickey Mouse birthday shirt? And I would have to say, I can't do that. Here's why. You may be able to find somebody else. Good luck. And that was kind of the end of it. But I really felt like I might not be able to be popular in this market unless I do that. Like, I'm just fighting this uphill battle that nobody else really seems to care about. And that has been extremely untrue. My business has evolved, and I don't do birthday shirts anymore by choice, not because they weren't selling well. I don't do them anymore because they took me too long. But I think that it's just a really important thing to wrap your head around and a really important mindset to get into. As creatives, I think it's extremely important to respect other people's creative pieces that they're putting out there. And it is possible to be able to create a popular product without stepping onto the things that other people have created in the past and without latching onto those things that they have protected by law. Okay, so I will get off my legal soapbox there. The last little tip that I want to say, when you are trying to compete and you are trying to get your products to sell more, is to make sure that you write your descriptions well. The descriptions, I feel like, are oftentimes overlooked because they are not a part of your Etsy SEO. And so there's a lot of focus on titles and tags and keywords and attributes and all this stuff. But people tend to overlook their description because they feel like customers don't really read the descriptions anyway, and because it's just not the focus of the SEO. And while it's true that you will sometimes have customers who don't read the description and they will either ask you questions that have already been answered in the description, or they will write you a note that has been answered or addressed in the description. A lot of people do read the description, and the description is the place where you really get the opportunity to sell to your customer. You get the opportunity to talk to them person to person, an actual person, not just a business, to customer. So in the description, it's important that you are talking directly to your dream customer so that your dream customer really understands why this product fits into her life, how this product is made just for her to solve this problem that she's trying to solve. And she knows that you understand her, you identify her, and she can really see herself in what you're writing about. It's important to have your description be clear and concise. You don't want it to be too long, but also to infuse personality and your sort of brand voice into the description so that it's not just, this necklace is silver and 18 inches long. It needs to have a little bit more pizzazz than that. It should be a little more interesting than that. And it should really speak directly to that dream customer that you have and show her how this product is fitting into her life and how this product is really the right product for her. Competition should be an inspiration to take what is out there and to make it better. We're not striving to copy what other people are doing. I am absolutely not telling you to copy and paste somebody's titles and descriptions. I can tell you right now, that's going to make them very frustrated. But we are trying to fill a void in the market where there is a lack. And so it's important to see what your competitors are doing well. What are they not doing well? How is their customer that they're going after different than your customer that you're going after? Or how does their product appeal differently to those different customers? And then when you know those things, you're able to hone in on what makes your product unique, what makes your business unique, or your packaging, or your customer service, or your community, whatever it is that you're doing different. You are able to see that difference and you're able to see the value that you're bringing to the market, and you're able to really, really hone in on that void that you're filling. And that makes you so much more able to niche down into your smaller market that's going to be wildly interested in your products. And I just want to put one more plug in. If you are sitting here and you're saying, but I don't have anything unique about me, and the market is too crowded and there's too much competition, and I don't have a unique spin on it, I want you to go back and listen to episode 9 about limiting mindset beliefs when you feel like you can't get started, because it will help you to work through that process. That's not true. I guarantee that you have a unique perspective or a unique background or skill or viewpoint or whatever that you are bringing to the creation of your product. Just because we are all unique people, you naturally all have a unique perspective and a unique skill that you're bringing. So if you are stuck in that mindset that you feel like you can't get out of, or you can't get started because there's too much competition and you're just overwhelmed by it all, I want you to go back and listen to that episode 9. It's about the fear of failure on Etsy. I hope this episode has been helpful to you as you move forward in thinking through how you're going to be able to stand out and what your unique perspective is when you have competitors who are creating very similar items or even the exact same item on the platform that you're competing with. As always, if you want to continue the conversation, I would love to have you join my private Facebook group, Etsy Roadmap by Lauren Keplinger. You can go to creativemomboss.com/Facebook and it will automatically redirect you to that group. We would love to have you join us and love to have your participation and any questions that you have about this episode or any other episode. It's a group of almost 1,000 Etsy sellers, the nicest group of Etsy sellers on the whole internet. That's all for today. I will see you next week, same time, same place. Bye for now.